Hey everybody, this is Mike with the One Stop Co-op Shop, and today I'm doing a preview of Common Sense, a 1v1 and soloable wargame based on the American Revolution. And as always, I take no money for my coverage. I just want to show you the game so you can make a decision about pre-ordering it. And if you like the content on the One Stop Co-op Shop, consider supporting us through Patreon. You get early access to our videos and exclusive videos every month you can't see anywhere else. You can also listen to our weekly podcast for reviews and design discussions, or join the conversation and say hi on our Discord. So this is a game that is coming from GMT Games, designed by Sam London. And what I'm looking at today is very much a prototype. The game's on P500. You can go pre-order it. And the design, the solo mode, all that stuff is nearly done. But things could definitely change. Even talking to Sam about the game recently, he was rethinking some of the priorities for the bot and such. So please don't watch this video to learn the game, because if you have the final version by the time you're watching this, a lot of things are going to be different. But this is a card-driven war game where you're going to be playing cards, perform actions. Think Twilight Struggle, for example. But it is a trick-taking card-driven war game. So maybe a little bit like Arcs, but really pretty dang different. One player is going to control Great Britain, trying to attack the colonies that are revolting. The other player controls the colonial forces, trying to evict Britain from the country. And this one is pretty heavy. I think I have the rules down, but I don't actually have a rule book for it from Sam London yet. Instead, he sent me a bunch of player aids, and he's gotten on TTS a few times to walk me through stuff, and he's answered a lot of my questions. But yeah, without a rule book to refer back to, I'm probably going to get some stuff wrong and just make it up, but it should still give you a good feel for how the game plays. But first, let's talk about what's going on with the board. Each space can hold up to 5 circular units from a single army. Oh, oops, these are not rated. That was from my last game. Some of the spaces are circular. That means they are not fortified, which means a few things for combat and such, but the most important thing is that there's this line right here showing that north of that line, the winter gets so cold that your troops can starve and die if they're not in a fortified location. Locations also have lines to show adjacency, so that's where you can travel. Some of them have a tomahawk symbol showing that native units can be recruited by the British to go raiding and mess with the colonial forces. Some of them have anchor symbols to show their ports, which is mainly for the British because they have sea forces that can ferry their units around. But also they need to trace supply through controlled spaces back to a boat for them to be able to do anything with most of their forces. These spaces are also divided by color and borders into the different colonies. And if Britain can take every single space within a given colony, that colony has a number for how much resolve the colonial player loses, making it easier for Britain to win. Over here in Philadelphia, you've got this Congress token, which shows where the Continental Congress is meeting. If Britain can take that, then they have to run away and a lot of bad stuff happens. And if Britain can completely take them out by making them run away when they have no retreat open, then the colonials immediately lose the game. And there's a bunch of different units. The colonials mainly just have militia who can be trained into Continental Army members. Light blue and darker blue in this case. The British have their regulars, which are the bright red redcoat units there, the strongest in the game. But they can also recruit Tory supporters, which are a lighter red, and they can hire Hessian mercenaries, but then they got to pay them, and that can be a negative thing for them. There's also artillery that the British can bring in, but then the Continental Army can steal it if they win a battle with it. And the British can have raiding rangers and also native forces that can harry the Continental Army behind its lines. And of course, their boats, super important. Whoops, and I'm missing one in New York. There's a bunch of other stuff, but not all of it is turned towards me. So this is the Resolve or Will to Fight track. I forget which name Sam's going with right now. But the players start at opposite ends, and whenever bad things happen, like the Continental Army loses a battle, or if the British lose some of their regular troops, or if anybody starves and dies during the winter, it moves to the right. It's going to affect your recruit action. So at first, the colonials are hiring 3 people with each recruit. When they get here, it becomes 2. If they get all the way here, it becomes 1. And similarly, the British forces are eventually not going to be able to hire Tories at all or hire fewer of them. And the game ends when the tokens meet, and I actually forget what the exact victory condition is. I guess whoever has more victory points wins. There's also some tracks here just for the colonial player. So they've got a France Alliance track. Whenever they win a trick that the Brits led, they will go to the left here. And if they get all the way to there, then they get to bring in French units who are just as strong as the British forces and French navies. They've also got this Continental Congress track. Many of their cards will cause this to move down, and each of the spaces is labeled with a year. And if this track is not that far, they'll automatically lose resolve because they're not putting enough time into actually planning their new nation. But this is also a track you can spend to upgrade your cards when you're playing them, so you can help yourself win a key trick. There's also a token to determine whether Benedict Arnold is loyal or has betrayed the colonial player. You might see that happen in this game. A few more things. Sorry to throw so much at you at a time. It'll make sense as the game gets going. There is a Great Britain space where they can recruit their main units and artillery and new navies and then send them over to the colonies. There's British Perception, which is a lot like the Continental Congress track. The British player gets this up whenever they win a trick. And then at the end of each year, because the game is played over potentially a max of 9 years, although usually won't go that long, they add the number of units in Great Britain to their perception, and for each point it's shy of 10, they lose resolve. So basically, if the people back in Great Britain feel like all of their troops are being sent away and they're not even winning the battle, then they get angry and want Great Britain to stop. There's also British supply. Most of the British units require supply to move and attack, and this is something they will gain from winning certain tricks. And finally, it's totally upside down, but you've got the year tracker. So we start out in 1775. Geez, Mike. it's 1775, right? And you'll see there are colors. So there's 3 red, 3 white, 3 blue. Each of these is what's called a campaign. Basically how it works is each year we will have 9 turns, 9 tricks played. Then the next year we'll have 9 more. Then the next year we'll have 9 more without shuffling the deck. So we'll go through 27 cards out of a 36 card deck. And then when the campaign is over, we reshuffle. So you'll get your deck back. Just to show the cards briefly, each of them is completely unique with a unique event. There's one deck for the colonial player and one deck for the British. In the upper left is the suit. There are 4 suits. Green, which is for marching and mobilizing your troops. Yellow, which is for special actions, which are very asymmetric. Blue, which is for recruiting. And red, which is for attacking, battling. It also shows in a smaller icon in the upper left there, the suit that this suit trumps. So if my opponent plays a red and I don't have any, I can trump with a green. It also shows the card's value, a 6 in this case. Those go from 0 to 8 for the colonial player and 1 to 9 for the British player. So the British do have an inherent advantage in their values. You've got a name for the event or figure this card is representing. You've got a number of actions. In this case, Francis Marion will give you 1 mobilize action. And you've got a special event, the Swamp Fox. And in the very bottom left corner, you'll see an hourglass. That means this is an ongoing card that could be in play for a while. The other 2 types, just to show them, are lightning bolts, which happen immediately before you actually resolve your actions for the turn. And pluses, which means that the event modifies the actions you're about to take. And any card after you win a trick, you can ignore everything at the bottom and just do 1 action of any color. But again, you don't do the event, so usually that's not a great option. And then solo mode, yeah, this is kind of crazy, but Sam figured out a very good, I must say, a solo mode for a game that's all about trick taking. It does take a little bit of doing. Basically, the bot is tracking what card values it could have based on its plays. It flips a bunch of cards based on the expected flexibility, like based on the round it is and all this kind of stuff. It keeps track of suits you're out of, suits that you can trump. And yeah, it's pretty smart. And then spreadsheets, woo! All the priorities and special things for specific events. In this case, I am playing the colonial forces and the bot is playing the British, but you could switch that. It can be a lot. For the first few turns, I'm going to walk you through step by step the bot's decision process. But for later turns, I'll skip past all of that so you can kind of see the action of the game without getting bogged down in the minutia, since some of these priorities and things, again, could change after the prototype. All right, so let's jump into 1775 and see how things go. So to show you the kind of lay of the land, Britain has a few forces in Canada with a fleet there. There is currently a battle being fought in Springfield. They've got 2 regular forces against 3 militia forces of mine, which are terrible compared to the regular units. So those people are in a bit of trouble. They are heavily invested in Boston. They've got 3 units there, their strongest force. They've got just a couple of Tories in New York, which is quite a bit weaker. I'm pretty strong in Newport, strongest in Philadelphia, where the Congress is. And I have a single unit holding down Charleston. By the way, I should note there are control tokens for British and colonial control, but everywhere on the map that doesn't have a token is under colonial control. So I have complete flexibility with where I recruit pretty much, and Britain has to make inroads. They've also got 3 units and 1 boat ready to ferry those units back in Great Britain. But start of the year, I draw 9 cards. And looking purely at values, sorry, the numbers are a little bit hard to see on these prototypes. These are pretty bad. Remember, 9 is the highest for the British. I've got a 1 and a 3 in green, a 2, 4, 0 in blue, a 1, 3, and 4 in red, and a 0 in yellow. Gosh, this is bad. Now, the blues might be okay because if they run out of a suit, then I might be able to win with a lower card. And the key ethos of the design of these cards is that the lower its value, the less likely it is to win a trick, because this is regular trick-taking rules where you have to follow suit and highest value wins. But also, the person who's following wins on a tie. So if they lead a 4 red and I play my 4 red, I win the trick. But yeah, so because of that, the whole design of the cards is that the lower their value, the stronger they are. They give you more actions. They have more incredibly powerful events. Like Benjamin Franklin, the lowest yellow 0, his event is Ambassador to France, which makes, while he's in play, because you can get rid of these ongoing cards, every single card I play have a little French alliance icon to get the French into the battle faster. So I could bring the French into the war like 2 years in and completely destroy the British. So yeah, I'm going to get rid of Ben Franklin. I can mulligan up to 5 cards. Common sense might be okay. I do want to recruit a lot at the beginning, so having a lot of blues is not too bad. I don't really want to battle very much, so let's get rid of those low ones and these really low greens, because I don't really plan to march. In the first year, I tend to like recruiting as much as possible. Okay, so I'm mulliganing 5. I don't shuffle those back in yet. First, I draw my 5 new cards, then I shuffle those in. Okay, well, I got some numbers. They're still not good. The only good thing I have going on is that I have a billion blues. So we'll see if the British try to play a lot of greens. Once my 1 is gone, I can trump with my blues. I don't know. So my hand is ready. Let's get to the first British turn and show you how this all works. And this is a little complicated and technical, so just bear with me. So first we look at the British hand. This number got cut off, but this is 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So right now their hand counts as having 9 cards, and they want to decide which card they want to play. So their first priority would be, if I was out of a suit, they would want to play that as much as possible because they know I can't follow. I mean, unless I'm trumping, then they would not want to play it. But then their next tiebreaker is whichever color of card they have the most of in their entire deck. So these available tokens are keeping track of how many cards remain in the deck of each color. Right now they have 9 of each because they haven't played any yet. So since they all have the same value, they go to the tiebreaker of the spots to the right of their current hand token. So here it's yellow, then red, then green, then blue. So they will prefer to play yellow cards. So then we look at the space next to their available, and you see it says 10, then 8, then 6, and then 3. And this is based on the year of the campaign, because their deck is going to be getting winnowed down, and there are going to be fewer of those colors in there. So in 1775, they're going to draw 10 cards. If it was 1776, they'd draw 8. If it was 1777, they'd draw 6. And there are also arrows as their hand gets lower. Oh, this is trying to model like that they're less and less likely to have good cards and the right cards for a trick. So yeah, eventually it'll have these shifts that'll push you further to the right. That's how you get to like the 3s and the 2s and stuff. But here they're just flipping 10 cards. And they're looking for yellows. Great, they got the highest possible yellow. Good for them. So then they look again to the right of their hand, and it's very small, sorry about that. But it says 6 with a down arrow and 9 with an up arrow. That gives the ranges in which a card is kind of acceptable and would be viable for them to have played at this point in the hand. Because like when we're getting down to like the last 2 or 1 cards in their hand, they're not going to be playing their 9s. They would have played those earlier when they were trying to be safe and running me out of cards. So this 9 yellow is within that range, 6 to 9, so they will play it. But if they hadn't gotten any yellows that were in that 6 to 9 range, they would go to the next suit in that little priority order, red, and they would look for a red card within 6 to 9, then a green card, then a blue card. But here, yep, they got Court Planner. These other 9 cards just get mixed back into their deck. And we got a little bit of bookkeeping. We need to say, hey, there's only 8 yellow cards left in your deck now, bot. The limit stuff doesn't come in yet. So they're playing a 9 yellow, and I only have 1 yellow, a 2. A 2 does not beat 9, so my card's discarded, and they win the trick. Every time they win a trick called a clash, the British increase British perception by 1, so they think the war is going well back home. Then we can look at this card, Corn Planter. So this is a yellow card, so it's going to give special actions. For the British, their special actions are either navies, that red boat icon, or native actions, the green tomahawk. And they only get one because this is, again, a very high value card. Something lower that's harder to win a trick with would give you more. And they also have an event. This is a plus, which means it'll modify one of those Navy or Tomahawk actions. It says Seneca Warchief. When raiding an army this turn, all dice automatically hit. Now, this doesn't matter. They don't have any natives out. They certainly are not going to be raiding me yet. So some events won't mean much. This one is an example of that. But now, before we resolve these actions, we got to check if the bot has other priorities they have to deal with. So we look at the top of this box. So you'll see like in the 6-hand spot, I'll try to zoom in when I'm actually editing the video so y'all can see this stuff at all because it's like the tiniest track ever Sam gave me. But yeah, in the 6th spot, you'll see it's green and then red. So they would, before they played this as a yellow card, remember any card, you can blank the bottom, ignore the event, ignore the actual actions indicated, and do one of any type of event. So before they would choose to use the Corn Planter, they would be like, oh, do I have any green priorities? Do I have any red priorities? Or down here, do I have any yellow, then green, then blue, then red priorities? For the first few card plays, the bot does not do that. So they are just seeing what their yellow priorities are. And again, sorry it's so small, but you just go from top to bottom. And this first little box are called priorities. The second box are less important, and these are just like little clarifications about how they take their actions. They also have special clarifications for certain cards. So Y9 is what we're playing right now, yellow 9, which doesn't have one, so there's nothing special to think about. So just to kind of work through this, it says if British navies are in the same space as French navies, well, we're not going to have to worry about that for quite a while, definitely not in this video, so we ignore that. If an army can move using naval movement to a space that satisfies march action priorities, it does so. Whoops, we got to check march action priorities. The first one is if the bot only has 2 cards left in their hand and they're worried about people dying in the winter. We can ignore that for most of this round. But it says if an army could march to an unoccupied, enemy-controlled, fortified space, it does so. And they're definitely going to be able to do this. They pretty much always do this. Because with a special naval action, the Brits can take a boat and bring up to 5 units from their space and move them to another port. So they're looking for a fortified port that is enemy controlled. Remember, everything is enemy controlled. I'm the enemy here, but has no units in it. And fortified means it's a square. So they want to come into Norfolk. They want to go into Baltimore. Those are their only 2 options. And the bot always prefers the more northerly choice when there's a tie, so they're going to go to Baltimore. But one of the bot rules says they will not move navies out if it'll leave units out of supplies. So right now, this boat is supplying New York. This boat in Boston is supplying Boston and also the troops fighting in Springfield. This boat's supplying Canada, so none of these boats can move, which means guess who's going to Baltimore? It's a British force. The moment that there are land units with that little flag icon, that means that they are units capable of taking control. In a space by themselves, they control it. So they have taken Baltimore. They are only 1 move and 1 Fort Cumberland away from controlling all of Maryland, where I live, and lowering my resolve by 3. And that was their 1 red action, so they chose not to do a native action because it was a lower priority. So their turn is done. And the event didn't come into play this time, so they don't care about it. So this goes in their discard pile, and I like to keep this nearby because sometimes I forget to move like their available token, so it helps me remember which cards they've played. All right, they're still the leader. We move their hand token down, so they're on the 8 and next to the 7. So they still don't have any special priorities. They still want a card between a 6 and a 9. And their priority is still yellow first, but yellow now only has 8 cards available. So they're going to pick a different thing. Red's the next, so they're going to try to do a battle card. And they're again flipping 10 and seeing what they get. All right, and interestingly, they got a 5. They got a 1, but remember the requirement was between a 6 or a 9, because basically they would not lead something so low. So red didn't work out. They're going to go to green next, and they play the highest one that fits. So they've got a 6 and they've got a 7. So they will play the 7 of green, shuffle the rest of these in. Once again, this is ugly. I can play my 2 of green. Yay. So they win. They get another British perception for winning the trick. And anytime they win a trick, they check if the card has 1 or more of those little supply wagon icons. In this case, it has 1, and they move the supply token 1 forward. They will again spend supply whenever their units move or attack. Okay, and there is still no need to check other color priorities. They're just going to play this as a green card. This is John Burgoyne. I'm sure those history buffs out there know who that is. He's giving them a single march, a single mobilize action, the green one. And it's an aggressive march. When moving an army consisting mostly of British regulars this turn, they move 2 spaces. Usually each green action lets you move 1 or more tokens from one space to an adjacent space. This is going to fast track that. So going to the march priorities. So they want to march to an unoccupied, enemy-controlled, fortified space. The exact same priority that they used for the Navy movement earlier. So they can march from Canada into Fort Pitt or Fort Ticonderoga. It seems like they can move from New York into West Point. But their basic Tory units have those arrows going in multiple directions. That means they can't organize themselves. They need a British regular unit to actually move with them, so they have to follow those guys around. The same thing applies to the Continental Army's militia. Until they get trained into full army members, they can't move on their own. The guys who took Baltimore could also move down to Richmond. And in terms of tiebreakers, again, they want to be more northerly, but they also want to try to get as many spaces of a single color as possible. So, Sam might say I'm wrong about this. Is definitely possible. But I think maybe since they get 2 moves with that guy's special event, they would go through Fort Niagara to Fort Pitt, because even as you move through a place, you take control of it. Sam, if I lied and they should have gone to Fort Ticonderoga because it's further north, that's fine. They always leave 1 unit behind in their own forts because they want to hold them, and especially it's really important here because of the boat. And if a space counts as threatened, which means I have units right next to it and could attack it pretty quickly, they will instead leave half of the units there rounded down, and they always prefer their cruddier units to stay behind instead of their best units. That was pretty nasty. They are now threatening Philadelphia a little bit. They've got Fort Pitt. They've got 2 spots out of 5 for controlling New York. Just great. Oh, I forgot. A British regular moved. You'll see they have that little wagon icon. That means each time they move during a turn, during a card play, they got to spend a supply. But if you have more than 1 green action, you can move the same army or units multiple times, and you only got to pay for them once as the British player. But yeah, that takes their supply back to 5. And there was a green card, so they have 9 of those available, and they now have 7 cards in hand. And let's see if they can just keep riding roughshod over me. So red and blue now have 9 cards available, so they're the preferred colors. Red wins the tiebreaker. And now the values are between 8 and 4, so they wouldn't play a 9, they wouldn't play a 3 or lower, but they're still flipping 10 cards. And wow, they didn't get a single red, so they're going to switch to blue. And whoa, they did get a 4 blue. I mean, this might be good for me. It's a low value. So they now have 8 blues available. And come on, I can beat this, right? Yay! Oh, so I actually don't even need to play my 6, because remember, you win ties. So I'll play the 4, which is a stronger card with some Continental Congress icons, and beat Frederick II. So kind of like their British perception track, every time I beat a trick that the Brits led, I gain 1 French alliance move. So that's now 1/15 of the way of bringing them into the war. And kind of like their supply, because I have 2 of those Continental hammers on the right, I gain 2 points, which means I'm already 1 over what I would need to not lose resolve in 1775. So in a future turn, I could spend 1 or both of these to increase the value of a card as I play it, to make it more likely I will win the trick. The value here, I should say, not like the actions. All right, now I could blank the bottom half and just use this as a wild 1 of anything, but let's see what we've got. 2 recruits, I mean, that's fantastic. And then an ongoing power, Old Glory. Once per battle, if a Continental Army unit would become a casualty, you may prevent it. That's great. Wow. Yeah, we're definitely going to use this for itself. So these just kind of hang out and stay in play. And they will stay in play forever until a very specific thing happens. Until a British player plays a blue card, I can't follow because I'm out of blue, and I can't trump. Then they throw away the ongoing event, in this case, Old Glory, that I have in play for that color. Otherwise, this could stay in play for the entire game. It doesn't even go away at the end of a 3-year campaign. Although you can only have 1 on-hold card of each color, so if I get another blue card with an event I like better, I might keep that. But anyway, I'm doing 2 blue actions. And the blue actions for the colonial player are super simple. They can pick any location that is not controlled by the British, and they gain a number of militia units equal to wherever their resolve is, their will to fight, which right now is 3. So I can do that twice. I definitely want to put them into fortified places, because remember, when the winter comes, I'm going to have people die if they're in circular places. And I want to stop them from getting the obvious things they could come and control. So I certainly want to grab Fort Ticonderoga. I could grab West Point, But remember, the Tories can't move on their own. They're fighting here, and you can't move out of a location where you're fighting unless you move into a space that you control. So they could retreat back to Boston, but they couldn't just like skip past me into Albany. So yeah, the Tories can't get there. They can't really get there from Boston. And it would be quite a walk, and they don't even have enough units for them to walk from like Canada over to West Point. So for the other one, I could go in Norfolk or Richmond. But for Norfolk, they'd have to move one of their boats. And right now they don't have any extras. They're all providing supply to somebody. So they aren't going to do that. So let's go into Richmond to dissuade them from trying to make a quick play for more of the Virginia ports. All right, and that's it for flag resolution. All right, now it's my play. I mean, again, my values are terrible. So I guess I'll play Washington's victories and see if I can get lucky again with blue. And this bot's down to 6 cards now. Because I led blue, they see what their blues are looking like. But you will see if you squint, there is a single arrow pointing to the right. So that because they're getting later in their hand and they're less likely to have given numbers and colors, instead of playing 10 blues, they're going to shift one to the right and flip 8 blues looking for one to play. And they really want to find one that'll beat my 6, okay? So they're flipping 8. And, oh, we didn't get any blues. Crud, they're going to trump me, aren't they? All right, so because they couldn't play any blues, they're going to flip their available token to show depleted. So we now pretend that the bot has no blues in their hand for the rest of this year. Oh, now real quick, though, I should note, the bot is limited in how many colors they can have depleted early on in a year. So you'll see if I zoom in, there's a 2 with like a little throwaway icon here. That's the maximum number of depleted colors they can have at this time. So with 6 cards in their hand, they won't have more than 2 colors depleted. If you would get a third depleted color, you ignore what you flipped and you just flip cards from the deck until you get a playable card of that color. Basically, they didn't want dumb luck to mean that you would have like the bot only having a single color and getting completely destroyed. All right, so now they're going to trump my blue card with a yellow, which is the trump for blue, and they're going to use the highest value one they can, which is 8. And this is important because in this game, when you trump, you must trump, and this is true of the competitive game as well, with the highest card of that suit. So here I mark that they now only have 7 cards available in their deck, but I also mark yellow with this limit, saying that for this year, the highest yellow they could possibly have is 8. And because they want another clash, they're up to 3 perception. All right, and now we are getting into some required checks for playing this card as a wild. It's a yellow, but they could want to play it as a green and then a red. We check. Green's priorities, we've already said, if they can march into an unoccupied, fortified space of mine and just steal it. But we shut that down. Remember, we protected Richmond, so they can't go in from Baltimore anymore. West Point, nobody can reach. And we got units in Ticonderoga. So we shut down any like very easy takes they could have done. And then the red priorities are if they're fighting a siege battle against my fortified space, they're not. Or if I'm attacking them in a friendly controlled non-fortified space, one of the circular ones. And that's not the case either. I technically control Springfield right now. So none of those priorities apply, so they're going to check it as a yellow card again. And none of the first ones apply because they're all about Navy priorities, but they will not move a Navy. That's clarified down here if it would put somebody out of supply. And right now, every Navy that's on the board is integral to them having supply. The only way to change that would be if they got control in a line to like link 2 navies together. So like if they took over Reading and Fort Cumberland, then their Baltimore supply line would connect up to their Canada supply line, and then one of those navies would be free to move away. So yeah, we ignore basically all of the naval stuff and we get down into raiding. They don't have anybody who can raid yet, so they're going to go to, is there a village space without a raid marker, recruit natives there. And this one's easy. All they care about is the northernmost tiebreaker, so they're going into Genesee? I don't know what that is. So they recruit 3 native units, and these guys are pretty much just going to be raiding my spaces and potentially lowering my resolve. And if they get into a space with my armies, they can try to defeat my armies with ambushes and stuff too. But I can always attack them and try to chase them away. And unlike pretty much every other unit in the game, these dudes don't mind being on a circular space. They know how to survive when the winter comes. Open this time, Richard Howe is a held card with that hourglass in the bottom left. Daring Admiral. Discard this card to prevent a British Navy unit from being destroyed. I don't know why that would happen for quite a long time, but it's going to hang out in play until, again, I lead a yellow that they can't follow or trump. Or until they get any lower rank yellow, because those are stronger cards. So if they get like a 4 or a 3 that can be held, they'll get rid of Richard Howe. All right, they're down to 5 cards, so still a single shift. And they have not played a red card yet, so they're going to keep on digging for one. So with the shift, it goes from 10 to 8. They are looking, okay, they got a 6 and a 3. Between 3 and 7 is the value they're looking for, so they're playing the Battle of Brandywine. So that brings that down by 1. Now, I could follow with John Sullivan or the Battle of Saratoga. This is actually a tough choice because red trumps yellow. So if they happen to play a yellow and I got rid of the 4, that would let me play my 0 red, which again is the strongest card I have in the entire game. But it's a little chancy. I'd rather keep the 4 just on the off chance that they play a 4 or lower and I can actually win the trick that way. So I'll play the Battle of Saratoga. It's gone. So they're winning this one. Gets them a perception. They're doing great with that. And 2 supply. Okay, and they're checking green, then red, then blue priorities. We know green doesn't apply. It's the same thing. They can't get to any fortified spaces. Red doesn't apply. We already know that. Blue, though, we got to check. Because this one definitely does apply. The very first one is that they know they're going to lose a ton of resolve. Remember, if their perception, the number of tricks they won, plus the number of units in Great Britain is below 10. Currently, it's 4 plus nothing. Because remember, those guys skived off to invade Baltimore. So because that's a valid priority, they ignore the 2 attacks, they ignore the event for the largest land battle. They do still get the supply, and this just becomes a single blue card. And the British can do a bunch of stuff when they recruit. For a single action, they can recruit a regular in Great Britain. They can't recruit them into the colonies. For 2 actions, they can recruit a new navy into Great Britain. That's very expensive. And then in the colonies themselves, in places they control, specifically in ports with regular troops, they can recruit Hessian troops, mercenaries, 3 of them, and they're pretty good fighters, so that's super cheap for really good forces. But then they got to spend resolve if the Hessian mercenaries outnumber their regular troops in the space. So overdoing on Hessians is going to bleed the British dry money-wise. Or they can recruit Tories, 2 to start out if their resolve gets lower, 1 and then 0. And that's anywhere in control, not just a port that has regular British soldiers. But even just getting 1 blue action because they changed it and blanked it out. So they get a single guy there, still not enough for their perception plus units to be good. All right, we're down to 4 cards, and I have not won much of anything. So what are they considering? Red or green? And green actually wins the tiebreaker this time. And it would be 10 cards, but okay, they still only got 1 hour. They're looking for 8. Green, green, green. They got a 4, a 1, and a 2. And their values are 3 to 7, so they'll play the highest one they can. So 4 green. Oh, but y'all done messed up because I don't have any green, but I got some blue, the trumps green. I have to play my highest one, remember? So I have to play John Hancock. I can't play Common Sense or Patrick Henry. But boom, we trump. So the bot freaks out and they're like, uh-oh. So they immediately, well, first of all, they do move their green down to show they played one. But they'll immediately mark green as player depleted, which means that it is a total non-starter. They will not play green unless they later mark blue as player depleted, the trump suit for green, and then they switch green to being safe and they'll play it as much as they can. And yeah, we can move their hand thing down right away because they're not getting to do anything. But I am getting, wow, 2 more Continental Congress. That's like the most Congress I've ever had. I got to use that to help me win some key tricks. Okay, so this is John Hancock, president of the Congress. I may spend any number of Congress levels to increase the will to fight by the same amount. But currently that is at max. Will to fight is my resolve up there at the top. So I don't want to use any Congress levels for that. So the question is, do I want to recruit twice or do something else? I mean, Norfolk is still vulnerable if they get another boat. West Point is totally unoccupied, although again, it's a little bit harder for them to move there. I guess I'll take the recruiting actions. Because those are all fortified spaces, so I'm not going to die in the winter. Right now, the only people in danger from the winter are my militia in Springfield, who can't even move on their own, because none of them are Continental Army units to lead them, and the regulars in Springfield as well. Well, we'll see if anybody gets them out of there. Oop, I almost forgot, though. Since I trumped them, I get a second French alliance. All right, so what I want to do here... I know they're out of blue, so they'll trump me if they have yellow, which they probably will because their yellow is still pretty open. A 4 red is never going to win. Their reds are still pretty strong too, so I'd rather save that in case they play a yellow so I can trump it. So let's play Patrick Henry. I don't think it'll win, but then I'll have Common Sense in case they come back. Well, no, they're not going to play a green. They know that I'm out. But they also don't have any blue. Yeah, I don't know, whatever. We'll play Patrick Henry. All right, and now they've got 2 arrow shifts. And they know they're out of blue, so they are looking for yellow to trump blue. So that would normally be 9 cards, but with 2 shifts, they're only going to flip 5. So I have a decent chance of them being out of yellow and me just being able to get away with this. Nope. Nope. Okay, so they play the 5. Now, I do see it's not equal to or above their limit. Remember, they could not have had an 8 or higher yellow. So their available yellows go down by 1, and their limit goes down to 5. Because remember, when you trump, you are required to play your highest possible card. And that's another perception for them. And this is a pretty nice card. 2 actions, has a pretty good ongoing power. But there's no way they're going to play it because yellow priorities don't apply right now. Green priorities, yeah, they can't take anything, so no. And blue priorities definitely apply. The same one as before. They want these to add up to 8. Right now it's 5 plus 1, 6. So they're going to blank this out and just get 1 recruit. Get another guy over there. So they are at 7 now. If they win another trick, they'll be at 8 and they won't worry about that anymore, but they tend to recruit a lot at the end. Oh, wait, hold on. Green was a first priority, and I forgot the most important priority for them is not having people die from the winter. So if they have 2 or fewer cards in hand and they have unfortified units that are above the winter line, they will try to march back to controlled spaces. So if they actually don't recruit that guy, they instead march these people back. Wow, Boston has 5 British regulars now. That's scary. But they abandoned Springfield. Unfortunately, my dude still can't leave and they're still about to starve. So nice of the British to do that, but not that big of a help. All right, and the British is really scraping the bottom at this point. What are they going to try to play? They can't play blue because they're out. They don't want to play green because I'm out. And red is way higher than yellow, so they're going to try to play a combat card. It would normally be an 8 with a double shift. They're flipping 6 cards. And they got a 9, and the thinking for the bot is there's no way they would have a 9 red. Why would they have waited until the second to last trick of the year to play it? So they skip red and they go to their next one, which is yellow again. Okay. And they're between 1 and 5. So yeah. Oh, wait, what's their limit? Yes, their limit is 5, so they can play a 4 Siege of Gibraltar, which is good for me. Oh, their available goes down because I got John Sullivan to trump that. So they freak out again. Oh no, don't play yellow either. And French Alliance goes up to 3. Now this one's interesting. I really don't need red actions. Combat actions, you haven't seen them yet. They allow you to attack in a place where you are coexisting because otherwise armies just kind of hang out with each other. So like if these 2 guys were here still, I could shoot at them and they could shoot at me. Oh, I forgot to spend 2 supply for those 2 units to move back to Boston. I just did that. Alternatively, there is something called a surprise attack where you move and attack into a place, but your units are 1 weaker for that. For militia, they wouldn't get to attack at all. And as already established, these guys can't even move on their own, so they can't do that. So I should probably just blank the card and do something else, but I've got the event which says Sullivan Expedition. Select 2 spaces and discard all native units there. So even though the red actions would be basically useless, I could get rid of these guys before they raid me. But raiders, I mean, they're not that close to anything too important yet. So instead I'm going to do my yellow special action, which you haven't seen yet. For the British, that's either doing stuff with the natives, recruiting them, moving them around, raiding places, or it's doing stuff with their boats, ferrying troops around, or even bombarding spaces they're next to. For the colonials, I can either use each action for a French alliance advancement, or I can use it for the training action. How the training action works is I can pick any militia anywhere, and if there's any Continental Army units there to train them, the entire group becomes Continental Army in a single action. If there aren't any, then instead I have to spend 1 action just turning one of them into army members, and now next time they could level up. But now these guys could come from West Point and attack New York, which is defended by a pretty weak Tory force, so we have a real chance of taking that next year. All right, and final card. They might not trump this. Their yellows are really messed up. Like they've got a really big limit on them. There aren't that many available. So actually, man, if this goes off, that'd be insane. I've never gotten common sense to go off that early. This is what the game is named after. It's a strong card. So yeah, let's see. They are getting 2 shifts. And here, I'll move the limit to the side. It would be an 8. So they're only flipping 4 cards. And they need to, in those 4 cards, get a yellow that is lower than 5, a 4, 3, 2, or 1. And they already played the Siege of Gibraltar. So they only have 3 cards in the entire deck they could get. No. That's great. And let's see, what do they play? They're out of blue, so they can't pick a blue, so they have to play a green. Okay, so they're down 1 more green, even though I'm out. Man, this is pretty awesome. So I get 3 more Continental Congress. This is insane. And I mean, I got to take the action. It'd be stupid not to. So I can place 1 militia each in any spaces you choose. 1 militia each in any spaces you choose? Like anywhere in the entire board? I mean, I guess though, it's supposed to be a super powerful one. All right, Here's a question. Do I want to take Fort Niagara? No, but then those guys would die, and I lose resolve when they die. So that'd be stupid just to put them there to take the control. Because it did say place them in any spaces you choose, so it doesn't need to be like spaces you can usually recruit into. Yeah, and I wouldn't even cut off their supply to Fort Pitt, because they've still got a direct line to Canada. So I guess I'll just go into the fortified spaces since winter is about to come that I can fit in. So I'll just put them in all of them real quick. By the way, I'm not going to put them where the British are, because only the person who controls the space in a fortified space counts as being inside for supply. My people are sitting outside freezing. All right, there we go. I hit every single fortified space on the map, including some random ones. Now I get 3 recruits. I do not need these, but it would be crazy to blank this card, so I'm not going to. Remember, stacking limit is 5. So, I don't know. It's a bit wasteful, but I guess I'll put 1 more in West Point since they're going to attack New York next round. Newport's actually in pretty big danger of being attacked there, so I'll add 2 more to max them out. And then, I mean, Richmond, Norfolk, they already have 4. Ticonderoga has 4. So even though it's not as exciting, how about I'll max out Charleston as well? The British could come in there with a navy sometime if they wanted to. So, wow, I go into the next year leading because the lead persists beyond years. That doesn't usually happen in the first year. But now we reset a bunch of things for the bot. Their hand goes back to 9. All of the depleted things get canceled because clearly we're going to have new hands. And the limit tokens go back. But importantly, the available tokens do not change. Because remember, that is a reflection of how many cards are still in the deck for the bot. So these 9 played cards still don't count. All right, now we resolve some stuff. So British Perception, they have a 5, the number of tricks they won. That, by the way, zeroes out afterwards. Plus their number of units, 6. And they subtract that from 10. So, oops, they're losing 4 resolve, which takes them down to there. They're about a little bit less than halfway to where they'd be able to recruit Tories less effectively. As for me, I check if I've reached the minimum space for my year for the Continental Congress, which is 1. Yeah, like I said, this is the highest I've ever seen it, but this does not decrease, unlike the British Perception. So I just hang on to this for future years and or to use it, remember, whenever I play a card on a 1-for-1 basis to raise the value of my card. Okay, and then we do winter attrition. Wah, wah. The only units on the entire board, well, the natives don't care, but the only units on the entire board, they're into circular space and north of the winter line, are these guys in Springfield. I lose half of them rounded up, so bye to 2 militia. And I lose 1 resolve, 1 will to fight for each unit that died from the winter. So Britain definitely came out of that way worse than me, and I certainly have a unit advantage at the moment. I'm feeling pretty good after that. And with that, we go to 1776. I'm going to draw 9 more cards. I can do another 5-card mulligan. I'm going to try to quickly go through this one, not going through the bot's thought process as much, so you can just kind of see the game in a smoother flowing state. All right, here's where my high values were hiding. Geez. Great blues, amazing yellows, which could also let me get rid of their Richard Howe held card. Good reds. Okay, so I think I'm only going to mulligan the 1 red. I don't know if I need this many high yellows. Like maybe I should save 1 for the future and mulligan it back into my deck. Although it's really going to let me slam them on yellows and again, potentially get rid of their 1 held card. Maybe even get Valley Forge play, which is a really great card. So what the hey, maybe I'll keep the rest. And again, the mulligan card gets shuffled back in after I draw. And what did I get? Ooh, I'm really strong in blue as well. The 4th of July. So I've got 3 high valued blues and I've got 1 billion Congress points. I've got crazy yellow strength. It's a good hand, I think. All right, and I play first, and I know the dangers here. Remember, they're yellows. They've only got 5 left in the deck, so it's a lower chance of them having it. But if I play it early, I'll probably be okay. All right, so let's try... I know they played their 8 already, and they played their 9, so the highest they could have is a 7. So I'll go play the Guns of Ticonderoga. Why not? So unless they're literally out of yellow right off the bat, which would be a little scary, we should be okay here. All right, so we are looking. They are now using the second column, so they start at the 7. No shifts yet because they just start with a new hand. So they're flipping 7 cards, looking for a yellow. Are you serious? They're really out of yellows already. Okay, cool. So yeah, they are depleted on yellows. They can be depleted this early, so they just mulliganed all their yellows away, which, you know, is definitely a strategy. All right, so now they want to trump me, which is red. Oh, man, and even their highest red is a 4. So that's going to seriously limit what reds they can play in the future for this round, but it does mean that they are definitely winning the trick. They get 1 perception, they get 2 supply, and this early they don't care about blanking and doing something else, unless literally nothing applies here. In this case, it's a little bit of a goofy one. They want to march as part of an attack action in a surprise attack. And they're just going for any enemy-controlled space, which is going to actually default to, Springfield, because they need to have enough people to leave behind. So here, Boston is threatened from Newport, so they're going to leave half their people rounded down. So they're bringing 3 people in. That costs them 3 supply, but they don't have to also pay for the combat. And hey, we get to finally show you combat as I get completely wiped out. I mean, that guy was going to starve to death in a second anyway, so I don't mind. All right, so let's break this down. There could be like early attacks, like if I was doing an attrition battle on my turn where I just like shoot at them and run away, or if they had artillery to shoot at me first, then that would happen. But otherwise, the combat is simultaneous. So British regulars usually roll a red die, which hits on a 3+. But when you do a surprise combat, you get 1 worse. Now they're rolling blue dice that hit on a 4+. Jeez, this is terrible. So they get 1 hit for each one that was a 4+. So that's 2 hits. They get 2 hits for each 6, regardless of their die type. So that's 4 hits coming at me. And I get to roll a single white die needing a 5+ to hit. Oh, I actually got 2 hits. Oh, man, if I take out one of the British regulars with this little sad militia who's like barely alive after the winter, that'd be awesome. All right, so now we've both gotten our hits, and now we have to roll for defense. Okay, so I'll roll for me first. You roll a number of dice equal to the hits. Color doesn't matter at this point. And for each 6 you roll, you get to discard your lowest die. I didn't roll any 6s. And then I have to apply my dice one at a time to units who would die from them. That's based on the little D6 value here. So these guys hit on a 5+, and they also need a 5 or 6 to survive an attack. So here I have to apply that to them. They're dead. If there were more units, man, it would have been terrible. So those guys are gone, but the British need, if they roll a 1 or a 2. That's not very likely. Nope, they got a 3, so it's not low enough to kill any of their guys. So as expected, they get out of there totally safe. That does mean that they finally take control of Springfield after a winter sat staring at each other. And while the British lose 1 will to fight each time they lose specifically one of their redcoats, I lose 1 for every single battle I lose. We want to keep winning. Oh, whoops, I didn't even read the event for this one. Gates's blunder. If British units outnumber colonial units, yep, the colonial player does not roll dice in battle. Okay, now that was only 1 combat action. If they had not defeated me, they could have spent another combat action to keep on shooting with those units, and they wouldn't have had the surprise attack 1 downgrade anymore. But they won, so what else do they want to do? They still want to do a surprise attack, but generally the bot will only attack anywhere where they have at least half as many units as I do, because their units are so much better. So they can actually attack from Baltimore into Richmond. So there's another surprise attack. This time it's 4 of my militia versus 2 of their guys, so Gates's blunder doesn't apply. And they're still downgraded, so they're rolling blues, looking for 4s. I'm rolling whites, looking for 5s. Take them out! Oh, that was good. They only got 1 hit. I got 2 hits. See here, I'll roll the white for my guys. Come on! Oh, they did! They survived! 5+, woo! All right, take them out. Take them out. Take out 1 of them. Come on, take... Oh, my gosh! Wow! It's funny, Sam was like yelling at me because I was like, I'm destroying the British. And he's like, how are your dice rolls? And I'm like, amazing. And that appears to be continuing. Oh, they shouldn't have come to Richmond. The Virginians don't want them. So they just lost 2 will to fight. They're now only 3 away from having their Tory recruitment. That's great. And that was their red card. I mean, I don't mind that at all. Wait, how many of them went in there? 2 of them. Okay. And then I got 2. Yeah, so I got 2 from the Battle of Camden. Then 2. Okay, yeah, so they're at 4. All right, we're down to 8 cards. They are already out of yellow. They definitely want to play a blue, right? So they're flipping 8. And they got some. Ooh, a 9 is viable. Might have to use some of my Congress stuff for that. Yeah, because I can use my 8 and spend a single Congress point, bringing me back down to 6. Still way more than I need to tie them at 9. So that's another French alliance point, although apparently I don't need the French. Oh, and this card has a purple, so I literally spent a purple to get a purple. Okay, I definitely don't need more recruitment, do I? Patriot Newspapers, Boston Gazette. I could recruit 3 militia in target fortified space. It does say recruit, not place, so it still needs to be a location I control. I couldn't just like pop up in one of their forts. But now I'm just going to blank the entire thing and get while the getting is good. Boom! I am changing that into a yellow action. And remember, 1 Continental Army guy can train everybody. So I got a stack of 5 great soldiers versus 2 teeny little Tories here. We're going to take New York back, baby. I could also do the same thing to maybe strike back at Baltimore now that they've left themselves vulnerable. But that would take a while, and they'll probably hire some Hessians or something before that happens. All right, I want to move in. I only have one green. I guess I could use anything. What are they out of? They're out of yellows already. And their highest red is a 4, so there's a decent chance they're going to run out of reds trumping me too. Although wait, I do want to, I'm just thinking I want to be a little bit scared of their reds because their limit is at 4, so they could still play a 1, 2, or 3 red, which remember are their strongest, craziest cards. So I could play my 7 red, just draw one of theirs out. But first, let's get my units in there, right? With maybe a blue that I can blank and change into a march. Don't want to spend any Congress for that. Do I need higher than 7? I see they're 9 in their discard. That's it. So do I just play super? No, it's okay if they beat me. I'll just come right back. So I'm not going to spend any Congress points on this one. And they still have 0 shifts, so they're flipping 7 for this. Ah, man, they got the 7 blue. I guess I should have paid 1 more. All right, so blue goes down. They're getting a supply. And no priorities apply. So they just want to recruit once in Great Britain because their perception's not great yet. Oh, and they should have 2, right? Now, this is actually a nice event. It lets them move a British naval unit from any space to Great Britain and then get a free naval unit, which is crazy. But it requires the ship moving not to take anybody out of supply, and everybody's required for supply right now. I think that's dumb. I think the bot should get that second ship anyway, but I guess I could take advantage. Because, by the way, if units are out of supply and then you attack them, they literally can't attack back. The British regulars, the Tories, they don't have the supply thing, so they can just fight as long as they want. But yeah, so I guess having your British troops get picked apart while they're out of supply would be pretty bad. So they just get a regular recruit, and they're going to try to get the perception up so they don't lose a ton of resolve. Wait, didn't they have more dudes here? Oh, no, I guess they didn't, because they had 5 last round plus 1 is 6. Yeah, so geez, they really haven't recruited very much. Usually they do more. All right, I feel super strong with my stuff and my Continental Congress. I think whatever they're going to play next, I'll win, and then I'll get a French alliance. So I don't really mind them winning that one, especially as long as the value isn't too high. All right, this time they're definitely going for red, and they do have a shift, so they're only flipping 5. Oh, remember, they can only play a red that's 3 or lower. They did get a 1, but it's not in their available ones. So they're going to switch to blue or green. What wins the tie? Green. 9's too high. So, yep, they'll play the 5 green Siege of Ticonderoga. Yeah, they can bring it. They can come to Ticonderoga. I will kick them out. By the way, I had to say what I just said 5 times because I kept on mispronouncing Ticonderoga. Oh, no, I don't have to do anything because I've got a 5. Yep, so get out of here. Ooh, this is a great card. Continental Army. So it's going to give me 2 mobilize, and I need that because I want to go attack whatever that place was. But then look at the ongoing ability. Army of the 13 Colonies. You may declare attrition combat before battles in the British player's turn. And how attrition combat works, usually you can only do this on your turn. And it has to be a space you control. Basically, you get to attack before they get to attack at all. But then if any of their units that can hold locations, like basically any of their British regulars are still around, you have to retreat. But they don't get to shoot at you at all. So being able to do that on their turn, just kind of shoot and vanish is amazing. Doesn't matter much right now, though, because West Point is emptying. Well, you know what? Never mind. I will leave 1 behind, because with Springfield being held over there, they could pounce in there with just a 2 march, which is, well, are they ever going to win a 2 march? I don't have any greens left, and I only have 1 card that trumps them. Yeah, I want to be a little safe. 4 Continental Army units should be able to take out 2 Tories pretty easily. Now, do I want to move anywhere else? I could attack Boston, but these guys could come back from Springfield pretty easily because you can move back in to relieve the siege. You could also move some people out of Philadelphia, but where would I want to go? I don't see any reason for me to do that. I guess I could advance from Reading to Fort Pitt. But again, I don't have any other. I only have 1 red card. No, I think 1 is fine. I just won't use the second mobilize. Oh, I'm 99% sure I didn't get the French alliance move. All right, so now I think I'm ready to play my single red card. They can't play a red card higher than it, so they're either going to be revealed to be depleted, which would then, if I get the lead again, give me the ability to play all my yellow cards freely because they're already out of yellow, so they're also out of the thing that trumps yellow. I can just run roughshod over them. And, even if they do have a red left, they're just going to waste it, and then hopefully they'll run out of reds later. So yeah, they're getting a single shift. They still pay attention to their available reds, not the limit. So they go from 7 to 5. But they have to get a 3, 2, or 1. They didn't. And they are allowed to have 2 depleteds. Wow. So they're already out of red, which means they're going to trump me with, what trumps red? With green. But yeah, now if I take the lead, I can destroy them. Oh, wait, did I flip? No, I flipped the right thing. Yeah, I can destroy them in yellow. Okay, they get a British Perception. They get 1 supply. And what are they doing here? Okay, so it's immobilized. Simcoe's Rangers. You move an army consisting solely of Rangers. They don't have any of those. Twice this turn, immediately battle with them. And yeah, they're just going to blanket and recruit here because they're in pretty desperate straits. I mean, they're at 6 now, so I guess they would lose 4 resolve, but that's a ton. They're already not doing well. And now, I mean, I've got them completely. I really hope it would be beautiful, and no, I guess it's not the most likely they'll play, but it'd be beautiful if they played a green, because then I could trump with a blue and then literally play out all 3 tricks, and there'd be nothing they could do to stop me. If they, as is more likely, play a blue, I'll have to trump it with a yellow, and then even if I play both my yellows, I'd have to take a chance on that final blue. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, I'm feeling a little bad for them. Okay, so they are going for blue, 5 flips. And yep, and then I have to trump with my highest yellow, so Battle of the Chesapeake takes it. That's another French alliance. And I'm definitely blanking this one. The event is to help me if French Navy units are attacking, and I want to recruit. I need to take New York so my people don't suffer from attrition. So we're turning into a single red action. We are attacking. And this headshot thing doesn't just mean that they can do the attrition combat. It also means that they attack first. So I get to roll all 4 of my dice. Then they'll get to do artillery combat with their boat and try to hit with that. I'll get to how that works in a second. And then if the Tories are still alive, they'll get to attack. All right, so I'm rolling 4 dice. I didn't do a surprise attack. I just walked in slow way. So that seems good enough, maybe. It's 3 hits. So they got to roll 3 dice. And remember, if they got in a 6, they'd get rid of 1. But here they have to assign dice. Yep, they're all done. The British don't care that much. They don't lose any resolve for losing Tories. They didn't care about those guys anyway. And the boat cannot hold New York on their own, so control flips to me. Now, I think they still get their artillery fire. And sorry, I think I had it backwards when I said it before. The blue shows they're rolling and hitting on 4s. The 3+ is their save. So for artillery fire, you roll it just like an attack, but the saving throw is always a 3+. Doesn't matter what kind of unit it is. So they did hit once, and I need a 3+. Got it. So took New York without any blood. And this boat just kind of sits there. The bot will eventually try to move it away with the yellow action, but it's not a big priority for them. They'll just send it back to Great Britain. All right, and yeah, I'm just gonna toy with them for a bit and play cards freely because they can't do anything about it. So I'll play William Heath first, and the bot is very sad right now because they can't play yellows, but they also can't play reds, which is what they would want to play to trump my yellows. So instead, they default to the regular highest available one, playing blue. Oh, and they're at 2 arrows now, so they're only flipping 2 cards. Oh, they did get a blue. Actually, this is a good blue for me, because I think this was the only one that was left that could beat my 1 remaining blue. So that was fantastic. Thanks, bot. But yeah, they were never actually in contention to win that one. All right, so I've got William Heath with 2 train and or French actions. By the way, I don't get a French alliance advance because I didn't beat them when they led. And his ongoing power, which I don't care much about because I'm going to use the one on Valley Forge in a second, is that after siege resolutions, turn 1 present militia unit into Continental Army. Well, the big thing is, I guess I'm going to upgrade twice. Because I just saw a very tasty target, this little Canadian spot over here, that is the only source of supply for this guy in Fort Pitt. So I'm going to, for 1 action, get a guy there, and for 2 actions, get the whole giant army ready. Okay, then we'll go and play Valley Forge, and blue still wins the tiebreaker, so they are flipping, still 2 cards for blue. And they did get 1, okay. Yeah, I'm definitely kicking William Heath out because this card's amazing. Ignore winter attrition in 1 space, then turn all militia units there into Continental Army. So as long as this stays around, which I hopefully it'll stay around for a while, I could have like 1 big army moving around and not caring about things. Not going to use that yet, though. Instead, I'm going to do the double train thing again to make Richmond a crazy fortress ready to take back Baltimore. All right, and last play. I'm not feeling good about the bot's chances here. In fact, I'm not sure if there are there any cards that can still beat me? They're 8, they're 6, they're 7, and their 9 is gone. And they're 4. So I guess it's a really tiny chance, but they could flip their 5. I'm going to spend 1 Continental Congress, especially because I'm about to get 2 more back. Just so that even if they get their 5, mine will count as a 6, and it won't be enough to help them. Okay, and they didn't. So they would count as playing their green 9, even though it doesn't make much sense here. It's the only one that's still available for them. All right, so I do 4th of July. I get 2 recruits. I get 2 more Continental Congress. And oh my gosh, another one of these. Recruit a militia unit in each space containing colonial units. All right, well, just about every place is maxed out. I don't even have... I don't have enough tokens. Huh. I'm still getting 2 recruits. Oh no, I just realized what I could do. This is so mean. I'm I'm guessing I just pull guys off of other places. I don't really know. But yeah, I'm going to double recruit in... Do I want to do Albany or Portsmouth? Let's do Portsmouth. Oh no, they're out of supply. But oh yes, I'm going to ignore winter attrition in one space and turn all the militia there into Continental Army. So Boston, if you thought you were going to hang against Newport's big attack, I don't think you're going to anymore. And yeah, then Springfield will be out of... Oh man, Springfield is about to be winter attrition. I was going to say they'd be out of supply, but they're going to be even worse off than that. Jeez, everything is going the worst possible for the bot in this game. It's crazy. Yeah, let's just count the ways they're in trouble. So they only have 3 plus 3, 6. So their will to fight drops another 4. Man, they are just ouch. Oh, also, I forgot. I definitely played a yellow that they could not follow or trump, so I should have gotten their 1 held card. Okay, I'm certainly fine for Continental Congress. My guys level up with Valley Forge, but they do not. 2 of them die. Oh man, which is 2 more will to fight down. I mean, this is just... Yeah, I think with the real game, we might just call it here. Although, who knows? I got a ton of my highest card values. So it is likely the bot will be able to come back some in 1777. But there you go. That was a little taste of Common Sense, at least the prototype in progress. And I love this one. I'll be honest, I was not a huge fan of ARX. I only played it a couple of times, but it never really felt like trick-taking to me. This feels like trick-taking, like what I was able to just pull off, slamming them with all those yellows after emptying out their other suits. Whether it was a player or a bot, that just felt great. That was a lot of fun. Meanwhile, the actual moving around and combat takes a little while to get used to, but I think it's pretty straightforward. You don't have to know like every little rule for every little location, because the battles tend to focus around the fortified places, so it's pretty easy to follow. Now, this is very much a game that is like Twilight Struggle. I know Sam designed it that way, where it's good to know the cards. Because if they hit you with certain things and you are not ready for it, it's just devastating. Like, look at this one, Trade Blockade. This messed me up a ton in the last game I played. Strangle the colonies. The value of all played colonial cards are reduced by 1 to a minimum of 0. That's the value for winning tricks. If that's just sitting around, it's so hard to win tricks and come back from it. Or Battle of Long Island. They're 1 red. Every time they win a battle in a space they control, they kill every present colonial unit, ignoring whatever the actual dice showed. So yeah, I think as you play the game, you start to know some of the cards. I've certainly gotten familiar with them after only, I think, 5 plays. Which can be a negative or a positive. If you're going to play this a lot solo, or you have a regular partner, I think it could be great. But it does raise up the barrier to entry, of course. And then also, this can be a lot. It still takes me a little while to figure out what the bot is doing, but it's gotten way, way faster. I would say, for those who have seen me cover other GMT games, that it's not as bad as the Coin series, especially because you're only running one other faction. It's not like you have to have rules for 3 factions floating around in your heads. But it's also not easy, and especially the first few rounds, it's going to take you so long. Because for so many of the bot card plays, you have to not just consider the actual card they played, you have to consider if certain priorities are in play and like check a bunch of colors. Now, it's usually pretty straightforward. Are they about to die of winter attrition? Could they take a space without any combat at all? Do they need more people for British perception? So you'll learn them quickly, and it'll make that stuff go a lot faster. But it's certainly not easy. And also, it's very easy to forget to move the tokens, to forget to get your French Alliance track bonus, your British perception bonus. So I wouldn't call this a super heavy solo war game, but it definitely ain't light. But I'm having a blast with it. I mean, this game went so much better than any game I've had before, so that's a little silly. Maybe I'll have to tell Sam he has to make the bot harder. But I'm having a blast every time I play, and yeah, maybe I'll just set up. I mean, I should probably get ready for bed. Maybe I'll set up a quick game where I'm playing as the British and try that out. Anyway, like I said, Common Sense is on P500 right now. If you like what you see, you can go pre-order it there. Link is in the video description. And thanks for watching, everybody. Special thank you to our biggest Patreon supporters, Matt G, Dan, J. William F, Steve Wren, Andrew R, and Chris C. We'll see you at the next stop.